A moment ago, I spoke to the Nationals leader, David Littleproud, and asked him what he felt that now that he has passed, having never seen recognition in the Constitution after the Aston by-election loss, we'll see where the Liberals land on The Voice. And our political editor, Andrew Clennell, joins us here with breaking news to that point. The position from the Liberal Party room, when is that going to come?
I can reveal, Laura, that Liberal MPs are being summoned to a party room meeting on Wednesday, in Canberra, where they will come up with their position on The Voice. The expected position of the Liberal Party room is a no to the current proposition from the government, but a yes to an alternative proposition, a legislated voice involving rural and regional local voices. That is my understanding. That's the direction it's heading. So there has been speculation around a conscience vote. Doesn't look like that's the way it's going to happen. It's going to be, we know the Nationals are already opposing the government's voice proposal. My understanding is the Liberal Party will come to a position this Wednesday in 2 days' time, and the expectation is Peter Dutton will be putting up this alternative model, which I guess does not require it to be enshrined in the Constitution. OK,
so it's not about changing things through the committee stage. It is not about making amendments. It's about an entirely different model. Is that right? That's
my understanding, and it's quite similar to a model which was taken or talked about by the Coalition in the lead up to the last election. So it seems in the wake of Aston, they've decided to get on with this, to come up with a position and to, we had Peter Credlin on a panel Saturday night saying the problem is they're opposing everything, not coming up with an alternative. Sounds like they're coming up with one or attempting to in this instance.
But Andrew, this does seem like an alternative that you have when you want it to fail, when you want constitutional recognition to fail. Is that unfair, or is the party so divided on this very issue, on a constitutional conservative perspective, that this really is the only pathway for Peter Dutton forward? Because he could have gone down that conscience vote route, but was that not acceptable to some of the opponents, like Jacinta Price? I know she sits in the National Party room in Canberra, but it is quite hard for him when you've got people like Jacinta Price who are so fiercely no.
Well, I think Peter Dutton's perspective, he's got most of the party room oppose The Voice. But I guess he could try and push them along in the direction of the Albanese proposal. But I think his genuine belief is he doesn't like it either. So that's always going to have a big impact. But this perhaps will allow them to say, we're not totally against this idea. We're not complete no-alition on this one. It's still going to be a difficult argument for him to mount. And I have to say, after Saturday night's result, I feel now The Voice has a decent chance of getting up, because everything Albanese's touching turns to gold at the moment.
Yep, certainly, and the polls show that at the moment. You still need the majority of the states, absolutely, and the majority of the country. Things aren't looking good in Queensland, but I think there was a surprising poll when it came to Western Australia in particular. I felt like that spooked the Liberals a little bit last week. Maybe that's a little bit of an overstatement. What do you think?
Yeah, it just sounds like the position in their party room is so strong. We saw a lot of moderates knocked out. I don't think they care, really. I mean, they're happy to just go to the wall on it. This gives them a bit of a halfway house, I guess, if this proposal gets up.
One thing that Peter Dutton was asked on the weekend after that loss is, asked to kind of explain why that happened in Aston. And there were those kind of inevitable, almost lazy questions about his leadership, I would say, because there is no real alternative at the moment. I think the party room is pretty much together. But he said his own test for his own leadership was actually keeping the party room together. Now, we haven't seen that with previous prime ministers, but I wonder if that was a dangerous statement, given what they're about to encounter on Wednesday.
Albanese jumped all over it as well, saying, well, you're just focused on your internals. I mean, If that's the depth... I think
in opposition 10 months after a general election, keeping your party together is a pretty important,
Saturday was an absolute disaster, absolutely. Laura. There's no talking around that. And if there was an alternative, Peter Dutton would be gone.
And that's the point about the party, isn't it? The party structure, that there is no alternative.
Well, it also speaks to the seats they lost, the safe seats.
Yeah.
Like Frydenberg, for example.
11% of people they represent in Victoria now. You're right. that is what disaster looks like. Anyway, we'll go to Canberra and get some reaction to this Aston by-election. Andrew, thank you.